Today, we're diving into a story from the ancient world about a judge whose corruption was so legendary, his punishment was literally designed to be a lesson for all time. This is the incredible and gruesome story of Sisamne, the judge who sold justice. So let's just start with a question for you. If you're a king, a really powerful one, and you need to teach a lesson so profound, so unforgettable that no one would ever dare repeat the crime, how do you do it? How do you make a lesson last forever? Well, if you were in the ancient Persian Empire, the answer was as brutal as it was, well, creative. You would build that lesson, quite literally, from a man's skin. And that shocking answer is exactly where our story kicks off. Okay, so to really get this story, we've got to set the scene. We're talking about the massive, powerful Achaemenid Empire, ruled by one of its most famous kings. Picture this. It's the late 6th century BC. The man in charge is Cambyses II, who happens to be the son of the legendary Cyrus the Great. Now, Cambyses inherited this huge empire and even made it bigger by conquering Egypt. But to rule a place that vast, he needed a network of loyal officials, and that included our main character, a judge named Sisamne. Now, here's the thing you have to understand about being a royal judge back then. It wasn't just a job. A judge like Sisamne was seen as a moral extension of the king himself. His word was the king's word. So to corrupt justice wasn't just breaking the law. It was seen as a direct attack on the king's power and, believe it or not, the order of the entire universe. And with all that power, all that sacred trust placed in his hands, Sisamne made a choice. A really, really bad one that would lead to his horrifying end. The crime itself? Oh, it's as simple as it is timeless. Sisamne took a bribe, plain and simple. He took someone's money to deliver a verdict he knew is wrong, twisting the law to line his own pockets instead of serving the truth. But here's the kicker. In Persian culture, this was a huge deal, way more than just a crime. They had this core belief in Asha, which is like truth, order, the way things are supposed to be. And its opposite was druj, falsehood, chaos, pure evil. So by taking that bribe, Sisamne wasn't just bending a rule. He was actively siding with cosmic chaos and threatening the stability of the entire empire. So when King Cambyses finds out about this deep betrayal, his reaction isn't just anger. Oh no. It's something much colder, much more calculated. It was basically a horrifying piece of political theater. And this is absolutely crucial to get. What happened next wasn't some king losing his temper and flying off the handle. The history is pretty clear. This was a deliberate, symbolic policy. Every single step was designed to send a message that would echo through time. So let's walk through just how gruesome this was. First up, the death sentence. Okay, saw that coming. But then, things get extreme. Cambyses ordered Sisamne to be flayed, to be skinned alive. Then, his skin, the very thing that held him together, was carefully preserved, treated, and cut into leather strips. And for the final step, those strips were used to upholster the judge's chair, the exact seat where he had sat and sold out justice. But get this, the punishment doesn't even stop with his death. Sisamne's own body became the permanent, physical tool for the lesson Cambyses wanted to teach. And this is where the king's twisted genius really comes into play. He took an abstract idea, the consequences of injustice, and made it terrifyingly physical. The symbol of justice, the judge's chair, was now wrapped in the skin of a corrupt judge. You couldn't look away. You couldn't forget it. It was right there. The purpose was just chillingly clear. Every single judge who came after Sisamne wouldn't just be sitting in a chair. They would be forced to feel, to touch, to literally sit on the physical remains of what happens when you betray your sacred duty. But just when you think this story can't get any more intense, it does. The most twisted part, the real psychological gut punch, was still to come, and it involves Sisamne's own son. So King Cambyses needs a new judge to take Sisamne's place, right? And who does he appoint? Otanes, Sisamne's son. Now, Otanes wasn't punished for what his dad did. Their idea of guilt was individual. But his new job, his duty, was to redeem the very seat his father had disgraced. For him, memory wasn't an option. It was compulsory. And as Otanes took his position on that chair, Cambyses reportedly gave him this one simple command: remember what kind of seat he sat upon. Can you even imagine that? Every day you go to work, you sit on a chair upholstered with your own father's skin, and you're forced to remember the ultimate price of corruption. Talk about a moral compass you can't ignore. So why on earth are we still telling this incredibly grim story 2,500 years later? Well, because the lessons are just timeless. It's a brutal reminder that justice is a sacred trust, that no amount of power can shield you from the consequences of corruption. It shows how memory itself can be used as a powerful tool of government. And maybe most of all, that holding public office is a responsibility, not a right, and that your actions can have consequences that literally outlive you. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to chew on. The king's lesson was, you could argue, effective. No doubt about it. But it was also horrifically brutal. So it really forces us to ask, where is the line? When does a lesson in justice just become a pure act of cruelty?